I am not someone who's trained in this. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I just feel like if we all sort of talked about how we communicate, we need rules for how to have conversations.
Janelle's latest venture as a life coach really takes the cake, doesn't it? It's just more proof that these so-called life coaches are a total scam. I mean, if anyone needed a clear example of delusion, it's her, right up there with Mary. What exactly makes Janelle think anyone sane would turn to her for life advice? This is a woman who thinks that being the glorified, barely tolerated mistress of a married man somehow qualifies her as strong and independent. Oh, and let's not forget, she still believes polyamory works for her and that she'd do it all over again, despite the fact it left her kids emotionally abused and neglected. But sure, let's take advice from her on life decisions. She dragged her feet for ages leaving Kody, who was not just neglectful to her, but to her children too. Seriously, why would I trust someone who let their kids suffer like that with anything remotely related to life advice? I love Janelle, don't get me wrong, but man, this whole life coach thing, it's just an odd choice. Neither Janelle nor Mary are exactly shining examples of healthy, happy life choices. I get that they're trying to capitalize on their fame, and hey, good for them for at least avoiding the whole NLM pitfall. But this whole life coach gig? Yeah, that's a bridge too far. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Has sister wives changed your behavior in any way? Well, let me start. Now, every single time I use the bathroom, I can't help but think about Kody's infamous toilet paper speech during his coronavirus rant. So now, thanks to his unsolicited eco lecture, I always have a few extra sheets ripped off and placed on top of the roll, because apparently I'm totally fine with using less. So thanks for the constant reminder to cut back on toilet paper, Kody. Really appreciate it. Definitely. I've gone from thinking, hey, they're consenting adults, let them do their thing, to, wait, polygamy is just one big patriarchy-powered circus, and it's doing some serious damage to women and kids. And I'm not sure if this counts, but watching how Logan and Aspen were practically turned into little parent figures made me reflect on my own childhood. My stepmom used to wake me up at 3 a.m. to take care of my screaming baby brother while she and my dad went back to sleep. I was 11. Oh, and just like Loga and Aspen, I'm also childless. Guess we all got our fair share of childhood trauma, huh? You know what Robyn Brown really needs to fully grasp the mess she's made of the family? It's simple. She needs a new, younger sister wife, complete with kids, added into her and Kody's already thriving relationship. Let's see how well that goes. Oh, and let's really spice it up. How about this new wife monopolizes all of Kody's time, while Robyn's left sitting there like a third wheel? Let her and Kody take a nice, long 14-day honeymoon, just the two of them, and see how incredible that feels for Robyn. Maybe throw in the fact that the new wife can actually give Kody kids and Robyn, well, can't. That should be a real eye-opener for her. Maybe, just maybe, she'd finally feel a fraction of the heartache she's put everyone else through. Because honestly, the only way Robyn's going to realize how much she hurt the other wives is if she gets a taste of her own medicine. But let's be real, she'll probably never get it. Robyn's too busy being Kody's favorite, shamelessly soaking up all the attention, never once caring about how that made the other wives or Kody's kids feel. I mean, can you imagine her even trying to comfort anyone else? Yeah, didn't think so. She's all about her own pain, her own kids. Everyone else can just deal with it, right? But you know what's even more amusing? Robyn's whole act is completely calculated. She knew exactly what she was doing. She's not some clueless, innocent bystander in this mess. The whole time, she figured the other wives and kids would just sit back and suffer silently, like some religious martyrdom parade, while she rakes in the perks. Oh, And when that plan inevitably fell apart, she wasn't even fazed. The only thing she did wrong in her eyes? Overestimating how long the other women would be okay with playing second fiddle. And honestly, the show really highlights how ridiculous the whole religious selflessness thing is. We're supposed to believe that women are supposed to just take it, right? Be the silent, self-sacrificing martyrs for the cause. That whole system is a disaster waiting to happen, and guess what? It did. Every single one of those women was forced to compete for Kody's attention, and it's no surprise they didn't mind playing the game. Robyn was just better at it, which is pretty much the worst prize in the world. But really, the system was doomed from the start. It was always going to crumble under the weight of jealousy, favoritism, and drama. I'm not here to judge anyone's lifestyle choices, but religious oppression enforced by guilt. That's a whole different story. I judge that all day, every day. Ah, Kody, he's just being Kody, right? It's so obvious now that he's been this way for years. He was just biding his time, waiting for the inevitable collapse of everything, like some kind of twisted doomsday prophet. His only goal? To shape the world to fit his vision, of course. And let's not kid ourselves. He's not grieving the loss of his family, not really. The only time you see him even remotely bothered is when his ego takes a hit. I mean, why would he mourn the family he's systematically dismantling? Janelle absolutely nails it in season 18, episode 10. Truly, a moment of clarity in the chaos. Now, let's talk about Kody and Robyn's reaction when Christine left. You know, the shocked, angry, betrayed faces they put on like they're some innocent victims. Priceless. I mean, come on. Kody literally called Christine's dad, bawling because gasp, he lost her. How could that have happened? Could it be that the man who spent years tearing down her self-esteem, belittling her, and making sure she knew her place as second-tier wife was just so devastated that he lost her? Sounds real believable. Here's the thing, Kody was on a mission. He wanted to break Christine, and by extension, the whole family. Make them terrified of challenging him, of standing up for themselves, or heaven forbid, calling out Robyn. He wanted them to accept their fate as discarded wives, and still dutifully support him and Robyn's fairy tale life. So yeah, calling Christine's dad was just a last-ditch effort to reel her back in. After all, he couldn't have the church seeing him as anything less than perfect, right? Christine's family? A nice little bonus for his image. And seriously, it's so clear now, the original trio and Robyn were married to completely different versions of Kody. And I'm not talking about minor personality shifts. No, Kody had totally checked out, especially after his marriage to Robyn. He didn't just stop pretending to care, he actively despised the OG wives. How do you come back from that? You don't. Once that respect is gone, the relationship's dead, and the sooner everyone realizes it, the better. Christine was the first to wise up. The others? They were still hoping the Kody they knew would somehow magically reappear. Spoiler alert, he didn't. You can't blame Christine for realizing the truth before anyone else. And let's not forget, once Kody tied the knot with Robyn, the man just checked out of his responsibilities with his first 3 wives and their kids. Love? Not so much. Robyn was in his ear, sure, but the destruction of his family? That one's on him. The sad thing is that he was so wrapped up in Robyn, he decided monogamy was the only way to go, conveniently forgetting all his other wives and kids. What a guy! In the end, Kody just wanted to be left alone with Robyn, living their own little bubble, where everyone else was expected to stay quiet and accept their place in the pecking order. You know, the way every polygamous family operates, right? A favorite wife and everyone else just. Robyn, always ready to steal someone's thunder. Seriously, I just rewatched S11E9, a shocking revelation. And did anyone else notice this? Right after Leon comes out as gay, Angry Bird swoops in like, oh, I know what you're going through. I had to come out too. As a polygamist, WTF? Like, really, Robyn? Can't anyone else have their moment? I swear, if it had been one of her daughters making a major revelation, I bet her reaction would have been very different. It wouldn't have even been filmed, honestly. Maybe she was just trying to relate to Mariah's experience, even though she's not a lesbian herself. Trying to be supportive or whatever, who knows? But honestly, Robyn's just the worst, so giving her any benefit of the doubt feels like a stretch. She's exhausting. The whole nanny situation. It's amazing how people completely miss the point of Christine's question. Let's clear this up, shall we? When Christine asked Kody about the nanny, she wasn't really concerned with whether the nanny was playing maid, cook, or child wrangler inside Robyn's house. No. What she wanted to know was why the nanny was allowed to come and go, especially around the kids, when Isabel and Truly, her own daughters, weren't allowed anywhere near the house. It wasn't about the nanny's daily chores, it was about the safety protocols or lack thereof. Christine's frustration wasn't about the nanny's duties, it was about Kody's arbitrary, rule-making nonsense, clearly not grounded in any actual science or medical advice. I mean, I get Christine's frustration. She's a smart woman, one who actually takes the time to educate herself. Yet here she is, forced to turn her brain off and go along with whatever nonsense Kody says, all while watching her kids suffer. And let's not forget, it was the nanny who actually introduced coronavirus to the household. Not any of the original wives, OG3, or the other wives, OG13. It's a nice little twist, isn't it? But here's the thing I love about the "what does the nanny do" meme. It's not just about what Christine meant. It could be broadened to ask, what exactly does the nanny do when Robyn, who has no job, has older kids in the house who could be helping out? So yeah, Christine's question was totally valid, but it's fun to add a little extra layer of snark to it, don't you think? And look, I highly doubt the nanny brought in coronavirus. Robyn was out and about with the kids during the peak of the pandemic, no masks in sight. There's actual video proof of this, not even speculation. Meanwhile, there were these bizarre rules about keeping the other wives away, even though Miri was following all the so-called protocols. At this point, I'm honestly questioning if there ever was a nanny to begin with. But sure, we know what Christine meant by asking, what does the nanny do? She's just trying to figure out why this nanny gets to break all the rules while the kids can't. And, of course, our snarky version of the question, definitely more on point. The classic Robyn move. Let's break this down, shall we? So, in the episode where Ariella is born, Robyn casually drops this gem. Hunter and Solomon have such a strong bond. She even adds that they're basically twins separated at birth because they share so many qualities. They both love to wrestle and get rough and tough, and oh, by the way, Solomon totally looks like Hunter. Sure, Robyn, sure. Now, let's pause for a reality check. I've barely seen Solomon throughout the seasons, but if we're comparing him to Hunter, I'm not sure I'm following. Solomon as a mini Hunter? Not buying it. Classic Robyn tactic. She knows Kody has this weird little love affair with Hunter because of their wrestling connection. So she's trying to force-feed the idea that Solomon is just like that. Why? Because she's got this obsession with Hunter that she's clearly trying to duplicate with Solomon. It's almost like she's trying to create her own version of a Kody-approved kid. I mean, why wouldn't she? Gotta make sure the son fits the mold, right? Let's not forget, Hunter was pretty tight with Kody in the earlier seasons. The guy was a high school champ in wrestling, a sport he and Kody shared, and he was adored by all the siblings like some kind of honorary second dad. And Robyn? Oh, she loved that except when she didn't. She was totally jealous of the bond and did everything in her power to pull those two apart. But hey, let's throw Solomon into the mix and see if she can work her magic. Now, Robyn's got this constant narrative going that Solomon's this tough, rough and tumble boy who's just dying to wrestle with Kody and bond over dirt. She's trying so hard to sell this story. But have we actually seen Solomon do anything remotely athletic? Nope. He doesn't exactly scream championship wrestler. In fact, everything we've seen so far says the exact opposite. But don't worry, Robyn's solution is simple. Let's get him into sports, because that will totally fix the fact that Solomon is, well, not interested in being a carbon copy of Hunter. And then there was the classic moment when Kody decided to take Solomon to see the giant hole for the cistern. Solomon couldn't care less, but of course, Kody insists. Boys love dirt and holes. Yeah, sure, Kody, he definitely loves that. Look, this isn't a knock on Solomon at all. He seems like a great kid. But Robyn? She knows Solomon doesn't fit the Kody-san mold, so she's working overtime to sell this narrative that just doesn't align with the kid's actual personality. It's like she's desperately trying to create a reality that doesn't exist. Nice try, Robyn. Nice try. In Season 16, Episode 16, Gabriel is doing his best to have an honest conversation with Kody about how much he misses the bond they used to share. But of course, Kody is too busy defending his over-the-top coronavirus rules to actually listen. Looking back at them now, those rules seem almost comical and wildly unnecessary. What's worse, Kody seems more focused on pushing his own agenda than on maintaining his relationships with his children. Except for Robyn's kids, of course. It's painfully clear where his priorities lie. Watching Gabriel try so hard to explain himself, to beg for a spot on Kody's team, even when he doesn't agree with him, just to be close to his dad again, is heartbreaking. It's no wonder there's tension between Robyn's kids and the other wives' kids. You can see the pain in Gabriel's eyes when Kody dismisses him, and the rejection is almost palpable. The fact that Kody favors Robyn's kids just because they follow his rules makes it all the worse. Imagine how it must feel as a kid to be treated that way by your own father, especially when the only rule you're trying to follow is having a normal, healthy relationship with him. I get it, coronavirus was a weird and stressful time, and everyone was paranoid. But as a parent, there's just no way I could stay away from my kids for that long, no matter how many rules there were. As a father, Kody should have found a way to see his kids during coronavirus while still being safe, like the rest of us did. If he couldn't do that, at the very least, he should have put in the effort to regularly check in with them, even if it was just a phone call a few times a week. That's just basic parenting. It's easy to see where Kody's frustration comes from. He feels disrespected, and I get that. But it's like a boss who hands down ridiculous policies, but never actually shows up to work or cares about how they impact anyone. How can you respect someone like that? And let's face it, polygamy has always been a major issue here, alongside Kody's overwhelming pride. The kids are the real victims in all of this. I can't help but wonder what their relationships with Kody are like now, years later. I'm sure it's not a smooth ride for any of them. Looking back, Kody should have figured out a way to see his kids during coronavirus and still follow safety protocols, just like the rest of us did. In the beginning, it was all about fear and uncertainty, but as time passed, it became about control and obedience. And let's not forget, a few years before, Kody had already been on camera expressing how he was kind of over polygamy, with the family standing in the way of his goals. Coronavirus gave him the perfect excuse to double down on the obedience thing, basically using it as a way to simplify his life and live more monogamously. It was never really about the rules, it was about control. Kody's latest rant is classic. He's adamant that Christine is the reason his kids won't talk to him, claiming that she's been poisoning their minds by telling them he's not a good man. Yeah, sure, because his reputation as a bad man hasn't been dissected to death already. He's just so invested in this narrative of himself as the victim, blaming Christine for everything, unable to take responsibility for any of his own mistakes. It's maddening. Here's the thing, Kody wants his kids to magically come to him, to see him the way he sees himself. without doing a damn thing to rebuild those relationships. And his excuse for the lack of communication, Christine's apparently been talking trash about him. It's a classic oversimplification and an easy scapegoat. Newsflash, the kids aren't idiots. They have their own minds, their own feelings, and they're perfectly capable of forming their own opinions. Kody ruined his own relationship with them. He chose not to make time for them because he didn't want to be around Christine. But instead of owning that, he'd rather sit back, whine about Christine, and make snarky comments. Talking to him is pointless. His attitude is all about self-justification and victimhood. Then there's Savannah, who is the perfect counterpoint to his ridiculous argument. Savannah hasn't cut him off. She hasn't bad-mouthed him. She didn't even hear from him for weeks. Yet Kody was busy filming with Janelle during that time. She doesn't need to ask for forgiveness, but she's still left in the dark. It's painfully obvious. Kody's a liar, a terrible father, and a toxic husband. His ego comes first, always, and it's clear he's loyal only to that. What frustrates me the most is how he never, ever reaches out to any of the kids. It's like he expects them to do all the work in fixing their relationships with him. I'm watching the episode where Kody and Janelle meet up for lunch, and she casually mentions that he hasn't talked to Savannah in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Yet, if any of the kids don't fall in line with Mrs. Perfect, they're the bad guys. When his wives get tired of his nonsense, he takes it out on the kids, punishing them for his own failings. Christine, on the other hand, has repeatedly said she wants her kids to have a good relationship with their dad. The problem is, Kody couldn't care less. He's too busy playing the victim alongside his soulmate. It's exhausting to watch. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.